Hey everyone, this is Chris, MTGO's Rec Start, and we're back with part 2 of this week's show and tell. And here we are in round 2, where I am playing against misterpid, who is also playing a bird deck. He's playing somewhat of an old school bird deck with some of the onslaught tribal synergies, and since those synergies are symmetrical, that creates some interesting interactions here. But I'll kind of explain how this goes. It's a long attrition battle between the two of us. And I went ahead and kept this. It's not extremely exciting, but I just knew he was on birds. And since my bird deck is a little unorthodox, I didn't figure it would be a mirror in that sense, but I was figuring turn 2 Squadron Hawk kind of deck, which it basically is. And then Swarm Aggro with a lot of the interesting synergies. He had a very well built deck, but we're going to see a lot of the cute tricks that he's got in here. So I've got a couple of guys here clogging the board early. Now he plays a Squadron Hawk. Now I briefly considered whether I should force this, since he's just going to be able to chain these things, and but I figured, even though that's kind of trading 2 cards for 3, that instead I would just try to counter whatever I would be coming, which I figured would be a Soul Catcher's Area, and it was. That would be his sort of army pumping effect, and even though that's symmetrical, I did not want to get in a battle of Soul Catcher's Aries, just because that's I figured that he's going to have more guys than I am, so I didn't want to get into that fight. So here comes another Squadron Hawk, just biding his time now. I went ahead and paid for that Raven Familiar because it is holding off his army at this point, being a 1/2. Now he's got a Lightning Greaves, and I also thought about whether I should counter that. While I still think it was okay to let it go, he gets in real good position here, where he's got a lot of stuff that he can recover from a board wipe and just slap a Lightning Greaves on something and beat in for a ton later. He'll have some opportunities that I have to be very careful around. And I know that I'm just going to be wiping the board as soon as I have to here. That Soul Catcher I don't want to be around, so I go ahead and I'm going to do that here, especially drawing that second Damnation. So swinging in, he's going to grab his other Welkin Hawk. I have to burn through all of those things, which is pretty annoying. And now I'll go ahead and wipe the board. Again, I did not want that Soul Catcher on the board, so I'll throw out the Tidehollow Strix and await his move. He throws out a Welkin Hawk and a Squadron Hawk. He's already fetched all of the Hawks, I believe, at this point, or he's got the other one in his hand. So just biding my time and holding that Force of Will open so I can hard cast it. And here's the Soul Catcher's Area, which I definitely do not want to resolve, especially since he has a Lightning Greaves out. Since at this point, if I do raft the board, if he has a Soul Catcher's Area out, any guy out of his hand, he suits up with the Lightning Greaves and swings in for a ton. So I have to be very careful and hold a guy to play after Damnation if he has an area out. Here, however, I get a little bit greedy and just dump a couple Parasitic Strix onto the board. Get a nice little life swing there. And then I will definitely get punished for that, since he has another Soul Catcher's Area, so now I'm in a little worse position. So I have to remember to hold on to guys here, and I need to try to bait him into committing a little bit more to the board. But again, he's got such an advantage in sort of the attrition battle. I do have guys that draw me cards when they come into play, so it's not a total blowout, but he's definitely better on that. Now he Enlightened Tutors for Seal of Cleansing just to kill the one guy, and then beats in here for 6, which I don't know about that one. I don't know what other targets he might have had, but it's very temporary gain on his part. So I've got a Tidehollow Strix now, and I think, let me see at this point, I burned through all of his Welkin Hawks. 1, 2, no, I think he's got one more. So he sorts the Plowshares. If he had that in the hand, then that makes him, I think, a little bit better, that he thought he could just try to finish me. And now that he's got that rock egg, I unfortunately can't just damnation because he would suit up the bird, and it would be enormous because of Soul Catcher's Airy. But he is going to Enlighten Tutor for a Jinxed Idol, which is, this is neat. This lets him sacrifice guys. Makes his Soul Catcher's Area better. He can burn through Welkin Hawks. You know, again, he has a lot of stuff he can sacrifice for advantage to Jinxed Idol to try to grind me out that way. But since he has done that now, that frees me up to raft the board. And he swings in, I'm going to block, and then sack to return the Jinxed Idol, and then he's going to sack Welkin Hawk, search up the last one, and then pass it back to me. And this is, I go ahead and throw out this Baleful Strix here, draws me into Divining Top, and then the Soul Catcher's Area is pumping everything 4. Now that Soul Catcher, again, makes me concerned. I can't really have that thing on the board since it's whenever a creature with flying dies, including mine, it gets bigger. So I gotta be careful here. He's coming in for a ton of damage, and actually looking at it, if I'm at 11 and this has haste and it's a 5/5, he could have put me to 1 here. Not quite enough. I block that and then pass the Jinxed Idol back. And now off of the Divining Top, I find a Baleful Strix. And so my play here is that I'm going to raft the board and then Strix into... get the Strix out so at least I can block his follow-up play, whatever he plays with the Lightning Greaves. And then the Strix is going to draw me into a Aven Riftwatcher, and that puts me in a really good shape. I know that I have a land on top, so I'm just going to go ahead and trade the Sensei's Divining Top for that land. I saw that sequence of plays last turn when I topped. So now I've got 2 guys, and my guys are both putting a lot of pressure on him, and he apparently doesn't have another guy. So his own Soul Catcher's Area proves to be his undoing here in this bird mirror match. So anyways, that takes care of round 2. Very grindy attrition battle, but I really like misterpid's deck design, and I hope that we maybe see that one again someday. So join me in just a moment for part 3.